101.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Hi, I'm Kingsley's husband, and welcome to another episode of,
You know the thing.
Welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corzai, covering the news on what is sure to be an historical week with the Supreme Court rulings we're going to see. I think we have 4 left to go, and the debate's coming up here shortly. With us in studio, as always, is our amazing producer, Ryan. Ryan, how are you?
Good afternoon. How you doing, my man?
I am great.
Finally, it's nice to see this weather recede a little bit and cool down a little bit for us.
Finally. I'm hot just walking around.
Oh, you ain't kidding, man.
All right, and joining us back via phone from a long vacation, it's Mr. Gordy. Mark, how are you?
Joe, I am a lot better than I was about 10 minutes ago after watching our Italian national team tie Croatia at the Euros and move on to the knockout stage. But I am great. You guys had a great episode Thursday, and I'm just happy to be back.
I thought we were going to have the Croatian sensations there for a little bit, but it was literally is it over yet?
It is over. Italy ties Croatia 1-1, and they're moving on.
Breaking news here live on Thinking Logically. The Italian nationals moving on. All right.
My daughter's sleeping, and I'm trying not to scream. So
you got to do the silent celebrations where you just real quiet. All right, let's get into the news, though. So over the weekend, we learned from White House officials that President Joe Biden will not be returning to the White House before the CNN presidential debate. It's over a week with no access to the President of the United States while he, check my notes here, prepares for a debate in June? I mean, we haven't had access to him the last 3 years, so what's another week, I guess, right? But if you saw the way he walked off that plane and into Camp David, you would think he was going there for hospice care, not to prep for a debate. What are they going to do to keep Joe Biden awake at this debate that starts at 9 p.m. at night on a Thursday? The answer? Probably a drug cocktail. Also, how weird is this? The Biden campaign won the, quote, coin toss for the debate and was given 2 options. Pick the podium or pick who got to speak last. Do you believe these idiots picked which side they wanted the podium to be on? Gee, I wonder why. I mean, they probably picked the moderator, too. I mean, who better to have? Who better to have than Jake Tapper, the guy who has helped spread every hoax about Trump the past 8 years, and even compared him to Hitler for his entire presidency. So this morning, and that's going to kick off our first soundbite here. This morning, the Trump campaign spokesman, Caroline Levitt? Caroline Levitt, I think, went on CNN today to point out that fact that Jake Tapper, who's moderating the debate, has compared Trump to Hitler on numerous times. How do you think that unfolded? Ryan, play the first audio of the exchange between her and Casey Hunt.
It takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently frequently liked President Trump to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I'm willing to have this conversation.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back at any point. She is welcome to come back and speak about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump will have equal time to Joe Biden when they both join us now at later this week in Atlanta for this.
Listen how flustered she sounded at the end. Anyway, no one is attacking her colleague, Jake Tapper. She was just pointing out things that Jake Tapper actually said and did. She's pointing out facts. Look how CNN just exposed themselves. Look at what they just did. They cut her off and threw her off the show. They threw her off. This is the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. Mark, what's happening here? Why'd they throw her off for just pointing out truth?
This was a pretty interesting exchange. What's that called, Joe? The Streisand effect?
Yes.
When
yes.
you know what I'm talking about? Like something like this. Like if she just would have let her speak, it wouldn't have drawn so much attention to this exchange that we saw on CNN. But instead, Casey Hunt, like you said, silenced her and threw out the show because she was trying to bring up the fact that Jake Tapper was comparing Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. What has Donald Trump ever done that is remotely close to anything Adolf Hitler ever did in his life? This is from Jack Posobiec on X. He said, I know we're talking about Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper, by the way, is the moderator for this debate Thursday. And you did mention that. But like he said, let's not leave out the fact that Dana Bash. Who's Dana Bash, Joe? Dana Bash is actually on CNN. She's on State of the Union on CNN. She's a studio host, we'll call her. Dana Bash's husband was one of the 51 Intel officials who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. Guy by the name of Jeremy Bash. So let's go over that again. His wife is on CNN, and he signed the infamous 51 Intel letters that lied about Hunter Biden's laptop. So I've read that Biden is at Camp David from now, or from like what, Joe? Last Friday,
Thursday or Friday? Yeah, Thursday or Friday.
He is at Camp David for a week. And I read that they actually reset his sleep schedule so that he's actually awake. So they're trying to like recalibrate his circadian rhythm, I guess you could call it, where he's actually going to be awake. You know, what time does the debate start? 9?
9. It's later for him. Sundown.
So yeah,
for
they're trying to recalibrate his circadian rhythm at Camp David.
When they got to use circadian rhythm as part of their what is he on night turn as a president? Is he on night shift or something?
It says, by having Joe get up a little later each day, they reduce the chance of a situation where Joe, quote unquote, sundowns on camera. That's why we haven't seen Joe for the last 3 days, and that's why we won't see him for the next 5. That's from Bricksuit on X. And finally, this is from Donald Trump on his Truth Social. Drug tests for crooked Joe Biden, I would also immediately agree to one. They should drug test him. They haven't agreed to that yet, and I wonder why. I would love to know what kind of cocktail they're going to give him. It could be something simpler as like they've thrown out creatine or Adderall. I'm sure would do the job, but it's interesting to see what everyone saw him scream and yell at the State of the Union, but this is going to be a little bit different environment for Joe Biden, and I can't wait. It's going to be a great evening. So, but let's not underestimate Biden, Joe. Let's not forget about that. We don't want to underestimate Joe Biden in these debates. He is taking a week to get ready for this debate. So I think anything above what Ryan's line on Thursday was amazing. He said there's no life in that body. Anything above no life in the body will be a win for Joe Biden, probably.
It's so funny though. It's literally just. Did you see this? So this tweet's from Bricksuit. There is one reason that Joe typically overperforms. Did you just read this? Yeah. Okay. They isolate him for a week, but they also shift his sleep. That's so weird. Like again, he's on night turn. Like he's on like night shift and his. When was the last time you heard circadian rhythm with someone who's in their 80s?
And that's a terrible quality to have if you're the commander-in-chief, guys. I mean, God forbid something happens when Joe's out.
Well, that happened with Hitler during D-Day. They didn't want to wake Hitler because he was sleeping. I mean, imagine that with what's going on.
Yeah.
We've learned nothing from history, apparently. Nothing. Do we have anything else we want to... There's so much more I want to... Every time I just forget everything that I want to say about Joe Biden in this debate and the prep that leads up to this. I mean...
I'm sure that we're gonna talk more. More is gonna come out between now and Thursday, and our show on Thursday. But Joe, let's what was I gonna say? I'm drawing a blank now as well. Let's not underestimate Biden. Oh, do we think that this is his dress rehearsal to see if they're going to remove him from the ticket or not? Do we think that if he bombs in this debate, they're going to remove him?
Yeah, I think it's already caked in. Even if he performs well, how could you stick with him? He's not going to beat Donald Trump in this debate. Let's be realistic. It's 3 versus 1. It's the moderator, it's Joe Biden, and it's whoever's in Joe Biden's ear. And then I guess it's the media after the debate getting their narratives out there. I mean, there's no reason Biden should lose this debate. He has everything. They're cutting off the microphones after you.
Let's not forget, Trump literally has like nothing to gain from this debate.
Nothing.
He's leading in all the polls. He's making ground with different categories within those polls and subgroups of people, blacks, Latinos, independents, you name it. He has nothing to gain. So as long as he just kind of holds serve and calls Biden out, I mean, Dan Bongino said he should just bring props. He should bring props to the debate.
You're not allowed. That's a rule.
Up.
You're actually not allowed. They made that a rule. I'm not even joking. You can't bring any props, any pieces of paper.
Amazing.
Look it up. All right, let's move on to the Trump rally that was in Philadelphia. So over the weekend, Trump held a rally in Philadelphia. I believe it was right by Temple University. Pennsylvania is clearly in play in 2024. I don't care what anyone says. But why not go somewhere else instead of Philly? I mean, is there really any way he could put a dent in the Democrat machine that's in Philadelphia? Remember, Trump is now a convicted felon, though. And I'm sure the Biden campaign thought that, at first that would be a good thing, but it's actually proven in the polls that we've seen to have gained Trump more voters. And it may have just lost Joe Biden, Pennsylvania. So how are Democrats going to continue their narrative that the justice system has been rigged against people like, I don't know, African Americans? The entire Democratic Party platform has been equity against an unfair justice system. And now all of a sudden, they are the party of law and order. After what we saw in 2020 with Abolish the Police, the Democrats are the party of law and order and the party of, in all caps, nobody is above the law. How's that going to work now? So Trump held a rally, and what did the media focus on the entire time? The crowd size, the size of the crowd. Let me pull up. Who is this from on X? Was it Aaron Rupar? Oh, well, first of all, I got to read this sign. Ryan, you'll like this one. Guy at a Trump rally has a sign, can't get a job, a house, or a girlfriend, thanks to Joe Biden. That's just a good sign. I mean, that's just a really good sign. You got to give him props for that.
That's good.
So this is the Leah Chorus Center. Is that right, Mark? Am I saying that correctly?
That's correct. I think that's where the Temple Owls play basketball.
Okay. So John Cooper put out a tweet saying, what do you notice about the crowd size at Trump's Philadelphia rally? And I can't lie to you, the entire top row, not top row, the entire top section, it's empty. There's no one there. But then all you have to do is you do a little fact checking yourself. And if they're utilizing floor seating, they can't open up the upper bowl because it would put them over their capacity of 10,206 as per the fire code. So these are cheap fakes. We're seeing more cheap fakes, Mark, aren't we? They're lying about the crowd size and how many people are there. And they're also, and I'll let you get into this if you want, Biden just had an event there. Was that the same one where he had Obama, or I don't know if it was the same place or whatever, but it was in an arena. They don't show you that they had a giant tarp at basically half court, and it looked filled, but it was only half filled. Again, cheap fakes.
Yeah, Trump had a pretty big crowd at this rally, and I thought it was a great rally. Actually, I caught the tail end of it, and sure enough, you see tons of Black Americans there that are sitting behind where he's speaking. Did you see he was at I think it was Nick and Tony's Cheesesteaks, I believe, or Tony and Nick, something like that, and he stopped into and tipped the workers $500. And did you see the young boy that was dressed as Trump? He made him cry, signed a $20 bill, and then took a picture with him. The kid was like crying when he took a picture with Trump. But when you have Trump going into let's call it. Temple is pretty much the hood in Philly. I believe it's in North Philly, and he's making inroads with Black Americans. Was probably the goal of this rally. He, I think, only got 10 or 11% of the black vote in 2020, Joe. He's now up around 24% at last I saw. And I sent you something. The Washington Post is trying to downplay these polls and downplay his support among Black Americans as if, these are fake and he's not really being supported by Black Americans as much as the polls say he is. I say bullcrap. I think he is. You're seeing it. You're seeing it at all these rallies. Who's showing up? So again, Pennsylvania, everything hinges on Pennsylvania for the most part. We win Pennsylvania, we win the White House. Scott Presler's doing the Lord's work, flipping, trying to flip counties and gaining, more Republicans every single day. So I think it's going to come down to Philly, in the Philly suburbs. And I do think Donald Trump should get over to Pittsburgh and court the black voters here in Pittsburgh, because I think he has some work to do there as well.
A lot of good points. I have to also mention, remember we did the story on McDonald's, how Trump didn't supposedly tip the McDonald's workers, but you couldn't because they get fired. McDonald's makes it illegal for their... Well, the media never mentioned anything on CNN or MSNBC about Trump tipping $500. And also, I found this interesting. Trump said he was going to get rid of the Department of Education. He said, quote, "We'll have a tiny group to make sure everyone is teaching English, math, etc. The Department of Education goes." And if you think about it, like has been the theme for the show, the Department of Education is another money laundering system. Has it been making our kids smarter the last decade or two? No. So we should trim the fat.
Well, let's not forget. Let's not forget, Joe. The Department of Education was formed in 1980. What did we do before then? So I think our kids were
Windows and ate paste.
Just as good, if not better, before then.
Exactly. All right. Before we move to the break, I got to mention AOC and Jamal Bowman danced and rapped on stage during a Bronx rally over the weekend. Mark, I don't even know if you want to comment on anything. All I'm going to say is we are reaching levels of cringe that should not even be possible yet.
All I'm going to say is Jamal Bowman was a former high school principal, and he was using the most vulgar language he could possibly use on stage.
Yeah,
it looked like there were a lot of people there. And again, Joe, let's call that a cheap fake, because if you saw the back of that, the other side,
the back of
there
AOC,
might have been 50 to 100 people there at most.
I was watching the back of AOC.
Jamal Bowman said, "We're going to show them who the F we are." He said it 3 times, screaming and yelling, running around on stage, and same with AOC. Extremely cringe. I don't know who that plays to or what, but
I wanted to play the video, but we can't because of the swearing. We're going to have to move to Sirius or satellite radio to play that, but I wanted to play it so bad because again, levels of cringe that I didn't think were humanly possible. All right.
Horrible.
I have to say, too, this is from Citizens Free Press before we move on. The news cycle moves too quickly. This was only 12 days ago, and the regime media buried the video very quickly, and it's the video of Nancy Pelosi admitting that, she was a little bit responsible for January 6th not having the National Guard there. They got you to memory hold that already. All right, we got to take a break, but when we return, in honor of Pride Month, Biden has hired a new associate communications director. He's anti-police, he promoted the Russiagate hoax, and he's advocated for the abolition of ICE. So I guess he fits right in with the Biden administration. I mean, you know what else he fits into? Address. We'll address this new hire when we return to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. When Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit, Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit pghbuyers.com to see if pghbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit pghbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Before the break, we were talking about Trump's Philadelphia rally. What on earth Joe Biden is doing to prepare for a debate for over a week at Camp David. And now we're going to get into some Supreme Court issues. Mark, this story kind of shocked, well, I don't want to say shocked me, from Sean Davis on X. If you remember last year, there was a leaker in the Supreme Court that he leaked out Dobbs and something else. I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, I think that was actually 2 years ago because the Dobbs
Yeah, 2
decision
years ago.
But yes, it was the Dobbs decision that was leaked out, and I think you're right. I can't remember the second thing that got leaked out.
But this is from Sean Davis on X. Is there a new leaker at the Supreme Court? Just days ago, the Biden regime announced a radical new executive order to legalize the immigrant spouses of citizens, even if those immigrants were in the United States to commit crimes or were here illegally. It was very strange timing for such an oddly specific executive order. Now we know why. The Supreme Court ruled today in a 6-3 decision that the U.S. is not required to admit immigrant spouses of American citizens in a case involving an MS-13 member whose spouse was a U.S. citizen who demanded legalization. From this nation's beginnings, this is a quote, the admission of non-citizens into this country was characterized as, quote, of favor, not right, the court ruled. Somebody at the White House was clearly tipped off about the unannounced Supreme Court decision, which explains why the White House rushed out such a shoddy written and argued new executive order to open the border even more. The Biden regime knew how the Supreme Court was going to rule, and it sought to preempt the court with its absurd executive order. So the question is now, who exactly is leaking information on rulings to the Biden White House? And I think we covered this an episode or two ago. The Last Refuge on X put a tweet out who he thought it was. But are these people ever going to be prosecuted? Leakers, Mark. Leakers.
I'm sure they knew who it is, or they have an idea, I would think. But this all, it was actually amazing timing, to have this executive order, this kind of like very specific executive order, actually. And one that I almost kind of like got behind, for a minute, that these spouses of American citizens can become citizens of this country if they've lived here for 10 years. Doesn't seem like that bad if you think about it. But when you talk about the sheer number of people, that would be, we're talking like in the hundreds of thousands of people. But yeah, this whole Supreme Court thing, Joe, they need to tighten up over there.
Yeah. All right. But again, good.
So what happens, Joe, to the executive order though?
This guy doesn't respect the Supreme Court. He'll defy him just like he defied him with student loans. You know the answer already. I mean, we all know the answer. He's just going to go along and say, try to stop me. Sounds a little bit like a dictator.
Well, he defied the Supreme Court, yeah, and he has, we'll say, forgiven, in air quotes, what, $144 billion in student loans.
Mm-hmm. Why not more?
And even those people aren't supporting Biden.
That's sad. When you're throwing money away, you're the sugar daddy, and you're still not getting any love. All right. There's a new comms director in the White House. So the Biden White House has hired, this name just makes me laugh for some reason, Tyler Cherry as its new associate communications director. He's previously called for ICE to be abolished. He has a minor in, I'm not making this up either. He has a minor in gender studies. And his entire previous work history, experience, whatever you want to call it, is basically working at Media Matters, a left-wing outlet. Oh, yeah, and he likes to wear skirts and dress like a woman. Mark, you got to see a picture of this guy. If Freddie Mercury and Weird Al Yankovic had a son, he would look like this. Am I wrong?
What in the hell is gender studies, Joe?
studying. I don't know. There's a lot of genders now, so I'm surprised it's still a minor and not a major. You got to go get your master's in it.
That's a good point. Yeah, this guy. It's just like the. This guy reminds me of, who was it, Joe? The nuclear. Who was that guy? I don't want to misgender the person. Was
Be
it
careful.
a man or a male or a female, or who was it? The nuclear. What was his name? Sam something. It was the bald head.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
dresses.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
It's really going to bother me, but he, with the red lipstick,
Yes.
just
Yeah,
looking
the
very
silver
fierce
dresses
all
and
the
got
time.
caught. This person who they hired, this associate communications director. That's who this reminds me of. I mean, you already have Karine Jean-Pierre, who is a checks a lot of boxes. We'll say. She's a vegan. She's black, and she's a lesbian. Do we really need? Do you need to go down the DEI hire path one more time here as the associate communications director?
I mean, yeah, we get it. We get it, guys. You made your point.
We do. We get it.
Did you see the tweet he put out from Tyler Cherry on X? Past social media posts from when I was younger do not reflect. Some of these were like 6 months ago. Past social media posts from when I was younger do not reflect my current views. Period. I support this administration's agenda and will continue my communications work focused on our climate and environmental policies. You think this communications director will ever tell us what's different now about his views on abolishing ICE or gender surgery for minors compared to like what's different, sir? Please, since you put it out there, tell us how you feel differently. I just don't know what else to say.
They don't know how to like read the room. It seems like, and they just in on top of that, I don't think they care, about who they are.
No, they don't.
So,
all right. So this is I follow Alex Rosen on X. Mark, you might know who he is. He catches pedophiles. And this came out over last week. I believe the guy's name is Michael Kaplan. He's the leader of the LGBTQ plus Democrats of Maryland. And he was caught attempting to meet up with a 14-year-old boy last week. Now, what makes this even more newsworthy, but I haven't seen it in the news yet, this guy, Michael Kaplan, he's hanging out at the White House, meeting with Biden assistants, and even being hosted by Kamala Harris at her home. Shout out to Alex Rosen on X, by the way, like I said, for being the one to confront him and pry some of this information out of the guy. But I read some of the text. Oh, very, very graphic. This guy's sick. But let's focus on some things. The White House visitor logs show that this guy, Michael Kaplan, visited the White House a total of 3 times. On May 20th, he visited the office of the White House. I don't know exactly what that is. On June 1st, which I'll remind, this is 2023. On June 1st, 2023, which I'll remind our audience was the first day of Pride Month that year, he met up with Special Assistant to Joe Biden, Jessica Schubel. And on June 22nd, 2023, he attended an event on the South Lawn. I think it may have been the same event, Mark, where the women that were once men were flashing their fake mammary glands in the Rose Garden. Do you remember that one? Yeah. Is there a pattern with this administration not only hiring creeps, but possibly pedophiles?
There's not too much I could probably say on air here about this, Joe. So, but it seems like they don't do their due diligence when they make these hires. Again, it goes back to the last 2 people we just mentioned.
And they hire these people and you never hear them doing anything good, like Dr. Rachel Levin, Big Rick Levin. What has he done? What groundbreaking thing that he's done to deserve the position? What is he even? Something of the Navy? I don't even know. I don't even care.
Admiral.
He's not an admiral. He's not selling the carriers around the seas. Actually, I think he might be an admiral. Maybe you are right.
I'm telling you, Rachel Levine is an admiral. She's definitely in the Navy.
Not one of them kind of admirals, though, right? Not like Admiral Bull Halsey or there's one of those guys. Like, he's just, I said I misgendered. We got to move on. All right, the Biden regime declares Trump supporters domestic terror threats in a newly released internal document, and they sought to set up Department of Homeland Security intel unit to target them. Okay, so internal documents from Biden's Department of Homeland Security show their plans to target Trump supporters as domestic extremists. The Brendan Clapper Intel Group discussed how most of the domestic terrorism threats now come from supporters of the former president. The Biden administration classifies someone as a person likely to commit domestic violent extremist attacks, particularly those who support President Trump, are in the military, or are religious. You hear that, all you Latin mass fanatics? Also, DHS should use being, DHS should use being, quote, in the military or religious to profile people and tag them as having, quote, indicators of extremism and terrorism as a pretext to allow DHS to spy on them. We're screwed.
Speaking of checking boxes, I check a lot of these boxes off, Joe. I mean, I wonder if I'm in the crosshairs of this Intel group. You know, I wonder if we are in the crosshairs of this Intel group. These are the things I think about when I hear stuff like this. I mean, like we're very, you know, we're here on local radio, so I say that tongue in cheek. But I mean, Joe, I mean, what is the point of this? Who are they targeting, and when are they going to target these people? Like, what is the whole point of creating something like this? Of identifying this domestic terrorism threat comes from supporters of the former president. Are you kidding me?
Isn't Trump supposed to be the one doing this?
What's that?
Isn't Trump supposed to be the one rounding up people on the other side of the aisle? And I was told Trump was the guy that would do this to us. And here it is, Brennan and Clapper, who are not Joe Biden people, they're Obama people. Let's call it as it is.
I'm worried about a false flag attack, Joe. That's what I'm worried about. And I think you would probably agree with me. I'm worried about a false flag attack that they try to pin on a Trump supporter somewhere.
The Patriot Front.
Now on Election Day. It's been kind of quiet the last couple months.
Not in the mountains where people were training to come down and overtake the country again. I mean, do you remember the Patriot Front? They all show up wearing the same khakis and the same shirt, and for some reason they wear masks, but they usually wear MAGA hats, which is weird because I haven't been to too many MAGA rallies. I don't think I've been to one MAGA rally, but I've never seen people all dress up the same and be like that. Like, they're feds. They're feds. They gotta be, right? They're not crazy, are we?
Speaking of rounding up people, Joe, this is kind of off topic, but I did see the other day on X that we talked about deporting illegal aliens, illegal migrants that are here illegally. Did you know Barack Obama deported 3 million people during his term as president?
I'm not surprised. He was known as the deporter in chief, but we'll never know who he let in. Again, who'd he let in?
But my point is, when Donald Trump begins deporting people on day one of his administration, I think you commented Thursday, they're going to compare it to the Trail of Tears in Oklahoma.
They are. They'll have paintings of it and everything. They'll make paintings. Oh yeah, there'll be specials. There'll be fake movies about it.
Yep. But we will not forget that Obama deported 3 million people.
And it won't be any white people in the movies either. It'll be all ethnic people just to make tug on your heartstrings more. All right, we got to take a break. But after the break, Snopes, the infamous fact checkers, they're finally admitting that Donald Trump never called the Nazis at Charlottesville, quote, very fine people. The 7-year itch has finally been scratched. We'll talk about it. Well, we'll talk about why it took so long when we return here to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. Views and opinions, they could change over time. You know what else can change over time? Facts. Facts apparently can change over time. And that brings us to our next story here. Snopes, the infamous fact checkers. Snopes finally got around to fact checking the entire basis of Joe Biden running for president in 2020. Remember the very fine people quote? And Joe Biden used to always say they would come out from the woods with tiki torches and crazy faces. Well, listen to this new fact check put out by X. No, Trump did not call neo-Nazis and white supremacists, quote, very fine people. On August 15th, 2017, then President Donald Trump called neo-Nazis and white supremacists who attended the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, very fine people. The rating? Brace for impact, leftists. False. Context. In a news conference after the rally protesting the planned removal of a Confederate statue, Trump did say that there were very fine people on both sides, referring to the protesters and the counter-protesters. He said in the same statement he wasn't talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, who he said should be, quote, condemned totally. I'll repeat it again one more time for the audience just to hammer it home. Very fine people on both sides when referring to the protesters and the counter-protesters. He then said in the same statement, that's the same statement, he wasn't talking about the neo-Nazis and white nationalists, who he said should be, quote, condemned totally. Why did it take 7 years for Snopes to figure this out? For 7 years, all they had to do was watch the video that we all watched and we all saw, or read the official White House transcript. I know that could be hard because in 2024, they seem to lie about the transcripts they give us, and they won't give you the video. We have video of him saying it. Wow. Wait until Snopes finds out that COVID didn't come from a muskrat mating with a pangolin at a fish market. Wait till they find that one out. Joe Biden said he ran because of Charlottesville and what happened there and what Trump said after. So Joe Biden ran because of a cheap fake. Every episode from now on, we got to call it cheap fake. I wasted it by calling last episode cheap fake. And now, speaking of Joe Biden, there's a Charlottesville every day at about 30 different college campuses in the United States. Anti-Semitism is rampant. Where's Joe Biden? Mark, it's a rhetorical question to you.
Joe, that was amazing what you just said in the last couple minutes. That was incredible.
Right?
Well, this is, as you said, from Snopes. And one of the comments here underneath this tweet is, when you lose Snopes, you know you've overplayed your hand. Yes, Joe Biden said he ran for president because of what Trump said at the Charlottesville event, we'll call it. Well, what if he was trying to bring that up in the debate? You know, what if this was some sort of smoke signal saying, "Hey, don't go there on Thursday night"? I think it was actually Jake Tapper that was one of the people that said this spelled what Trump actually said. Am I right or wrong there, Joe?
I think you are right.
Yeah, I think it was actually Jake Tapper that came out and said Donald Trump never said this. You know, this is not what he said.
And I watched the video. He was very reluctant having to say that. It was almost like, like you said, you brought it up. Now I got to correct you because we're already fake enough. We're already getting called fake news every day. But go on.
Right. Well, slightly off topic. Did you see the audio clip from Bill Maher over the weekend? He had Andrew Cuomo and Adam Kinzinger on the show.
No.
Did you see this?
No, I didn't. But unless he went after them, how could it be good? How could it be something I want to hear or listen to?
Andrew Cuomo said that the charges that they brought against Donald Trump in New York, the hush money case, should have never been brought up. And if his name wasn't Donald Trump and if he wasn't running for president, he would have never been charged with this. Andrew Cuomo said that on Bill Maher. And Adam Kinzinger just sat there and took it.
Cried.
And never said a word.
Cried like a little baby.
Another red pill for the libs. But yeah, I love the clips we see from Bill Maher now. It's almost on a weekly basis, that the red pills are getting thrown out left and right. But yeah.
I do have to say though, so again, Bill Maher says something that we've been saying for 2 years and everyone claps like seals because that's why I can't watch his show. I don't know. Adam Kinzinger crying, but Andrew Cuomo, he's another one who had his sexual assault in. It was kind of a gray area on his sexual assault case, but then again, he resigned, and the thing with the killing everyone, putting every grandma in the nursing home kind of just went away. So, no, did they ask him about the nursing home deaths? No. Everyone forgot about that. But, I don't know. I had to bring that up. But just Andrew Cuomo just irks me. You know how I am with Cuomo, and you know how I am with Kinzinger, too. The ghost of Kiev.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Bob Casey.
I get it.
What's that?
I said I get it.
All right, let's move on to Bob Casey and voter suppression. So the Democrats are now running TV ads in PA telling Republicans that Trump doesn't want them to vote early. Cheap fakes, Mark, more cheap fakes. And apparently Bob Casey's brother is the one funding this all. I guess Senator Bob Casey's political campaign has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from his brother's personal injury law firm over the past 10, 15 years. And the lawmaker has tapped one of its partners to help him nominate federal judges. That's just a little side note on that. Ryan, play the video of the campaign ad from Bob Casey.
Mail-in voting is totally corrupt. Get that through your head. It has to be. There's fraud. They found him in creeks. They found some with the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. All of the things that are happening with votes by mail. I'm not going to say which party does it, but thousands of votes are gathered and they come in and they're dumped in a location, and then all of a sudden you lose elections if you think you're going to win.
Maybe I didn't hear it correctly, but where does he say not to vote early? Cheap fake, right?
I had never heard the word cheap fake actually before the other day. But that's what this is. Joe, what is the point of them coming up with this ad? Let's think about this. Let's think logically here. What is the point of them creating an ad like this? I mean, think about it. They must not want Republicans to vote by mail.
I agree.
Why would they want that? Because that is one of their true advantages they have in voting. They know that they have the mail vote that is banked ahead of time, which is their advantage, which is to their advantage. Now, if you're telling Republicans not to vote by mail, trying to trick them, which whether you vote by mail or not is your choice. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think everyone knows how we feel about it in general. But they must be trying. They must be up to something here, Joe, or else they wouldn't have come up with an ad like this.
And also,
plain and simple, right?
Yeah, think about it. You wouldn't want any people voting for Trump to use mail-in ballots unless you're going to throw them away, because you would want less to count to fix. You want the least amount of mail-in votes as you can, so you could add more at the end, like they did when they shut down the counting in whatever it was, 4, 5, 6 swing states. That's how it worked. If everyone would have been voting by mail, it would have been a little bit harder because you would have had so many. I hate the voting by mail, but nowhere in there does Trump say he doesn't want anyone to vote early. That's all. He just gives facts about mail-in voting. That's all. Some of them were found in ditches and in rivers in PA.
I just wish we had pre-canvassing in PA where the mail-in vote is like in Florida. It's already counted, and those numbers are revealed at 8 o'clock, whatever, on election night, and there's no more counting ballots by mail after that. Like, it's already done. So I think if we got to that point, this would be a little bit better. Speaking of Florida, I think that the DNC or the Biden campaign basically threw in the towel in Florida and said it's no longer a battleground state, and they're just basically giving up in Florida.
Good. All right. Crimean missile attack, is that where we are?
I know how non-citizens are getting voter registration.
Okay, yeah.
Joe. I mean,
I knew I missed something.
This last week. If you're an illegal migrant, if you're here illegally, and you register to vote, you have an address. No one's verifying your citizenship. You are attesting to that. You're basically committing a crime at that point. If you're saying you're a citizen, but you're not, but you are voting, you are committing a crime. But they are not verifying whether you're a citizen or not. There's none of that takes place, I don't think, Joe.
No.
Right?
In some states, you literally get an ID mailed to you when you get here. And you saw you saw what just happened with the executive order. I don't care. I don't care if it's people that have been here for 10 years. They could always lie. They could always try to continue to break the law as they've been doing since they got here. I just don't understand. Please get it, people. Please get it.
I mean, when you think about it like that, that kind of makes sense why they let 13 million illegals across the border, handing them voter registration forms as they come across. How 49 states? Probably facilitated by these NGOs, right? So give them voter registration forms, let them vote.
And they don't even have to vote. They just need the fact that they're here.
Right.
It's the worst part about it, man. It's the worst part about it. It's going to be a disaster this election season. That's why I just buckle up. We got like 5 months left. Not even. Jeez. All right, let's move on to the Crimea missile attack because we got to move to a break here. So Russian officials reported that Ukraine attacked Crimea with 5 U.S.-supplied missiles, killing 3 people, including 2 children, and injuring over 100 more. Missile fragments fell near a beach in Sevastopol, causing panic among holidaygoers. Footage showed people fleeing the beach, with some being carried on sun loungers. This is today. Pentagon spokespersons responded today and said Ukraine makes their own targeting decisions and conducts its own military operations. Do they think we just forgot everything that was said or that happened the last few months? We gave them the weapons. We gave them the bombs. We gave them the missiles, the intel, the surveillance. We even told them last week they could use the weapons we gave them and the intel we gave them to strike inside Russia. Mark, who are they trying to convince? Us? Putin? Who? It's not going to work.
I really hope the Americans weren't behind this attack, Joe. They sent cluster bombs on a beach and killed innocent people. This is like some heinous attack that they launched, against innocent people. But Russia was pretty quick to condemn the United States as being behind something like this. So I'm not sure how they knew, but I'm sure the United States was involved. Whether I heard that the United States was operating the drones that were guiding the missiles to this location. So I don't know, Joe. Again, been saying it, inching closer and closer to World War III, Joe. That's all this is. Every day, every time we hear something like this, people need to understand we are getting closer to World War III. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote to send your children or grandchildren, whoever it may be, off to fight in these wars halfway across the world.
They tried to blame this on Russia and said it came under missile fire from it was the Russian air defense. And this guy, I don't know who he is. He has a Ukrainian and German flag in his bio, and he has a blue check mark, and he got a lot of followers. The picture he posted of the people running off the beach is the scene from Jaws. The picture he posted of people running off the beach in Sevastopol is the picture. It's a scene from Jaws. That's how dumb these people are. That's how terrible these people are. Why are they so bad at this? And Mike Benz even made a comment. I was going to dunk on yet another Russian simp that says Russia blew up its own pipeline. We can never let our own people know we're bombing them. But then again, an even more ridiculous thing happened. He's referring to the fact that it's the scene from Jaws in 1975. Absolutely amazing. All right. Do we have anything else on this? From Kim.com, U.S. taxpayer money killed 2 children on a beach in Crimea today. American ATACMS missiles were used by Ukraine with permission from Joe Biden and with the targeting assistance of U.S. military personnel to murder Russian civilians. Joe Biden has taken humanity to the abyss. And I don't know if we were responsible for it, if we were the ones that shot it, if Ukraine used our intelligence. I don't know, but hopefully we get an answer. Hopefully not the answer that I hope it is. Mark, anything before the break?
No, I think you covered everything with that attack. So,
all right, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk about Dear Abby and letting people unvaccinated stay in your apartment. Stay tuned. We'll be back. It's 99.3 FM WBVP. You're listening to Thinking Logically.
You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
It's Joe Corsai here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. Every once in a while, you'll read a headline and it'll make you wonder, what year am I in? And that's this headline from Dear Abby. My tenant isn't vaccinated for COVID. What do I do? And he tells a story about several months ago, a woman that her 49-year-old son's friend stayed at her place, and he got drunk one day and said he wasn't vaccinated, and now she's afraid. Mark, what? I thought COVID was over. What is this? It's from June 21st, 2024.
Dear Abby, still kicking. For those of you that thought that was a thing of the past, it's not. Speaking of thing of the past, not just COVID vaccines, but Dear Abby. Crazy, Joe.
Dear Abby never left 2021 or late 2020, early 2022. Well, we'll give him that long.
I bet the author probably still wears a mask.
All right. This is breaking today. Emergency officials are on high alert as a Minnesota dam is in imminent danger of critical failure. And I don't know if it failed yet or not, but in Rapidan, Minnesota.
I saw that today. It looked pretty bad.
Yeah, but I thought Joe Biden had infrastructure year last year, so I don't know how that's possible. We've seen a lot of bridges for Mr. Infrastructure Joe Biden. We've seen a lot of bridges and now a dam collapse the last couple of years. Just saying.
Speaking of infrastructure, what about the $40-some billion he dedicated to getting rural people on high-speed internet and hasn't connected one person?
Yeah, not one. Not even a ditch dug yet. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, money laundering machine in full effect. All right. Ryan, are you a betting man?
I am not, no.
Okay, so in New York City, judges are drawn randomly from a 24-judge pool by a computer. Judge Merchan has been chosen to preside over the 4 Trump cases. The odds of that are 1 in 331,776. Imagine betting Merchan to be the judge and then rolling over your winnings every time and betting him to be the judge in the other 3 cases. You'd be a millionaire. We wouldn't have to be here, Ryan.
Jeez, right?
We should have known. We wouldn't have to be doing this. Mark, You're not a betting man, but what do you think of those odds? Astronomical or criminal?
Judge Juan Mershon. I thought we were done here hearing his name. 1 in 331,776. Again, I think we're going to see a probe into how this happened. Let's FOIA. Use FOIA in Trump 47. So we need to figure out how this happened. No, seriously.
I like that idea.
We laugh about this stuff. How did this happen? We need to find out how this happened.
All right. Also, from Patrick Webb on X, breaking, there's growing speculation within the Trump camp that Ben Carson has emerged as the frontrunner to become Trump's VP, according to sources. I also heard he might make a stop in Ohio before the debate to ask either J.D. Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't believe any of these rumors. Anytime someone tells you, hey, listen to me, it's going to be so, they don't know. They're lying. Gossip, high school gossip.
It's hard to actually pinpoint who his VP is going to be. Ben Carson would be awesome. I like Ben Carson a lot. I think he could speak directly to the black community as well. He would be one of my top 3 picks, but I would also love to see Vivek, because I think Vivek would his youth, his brilliance, his ability to speak and connect to everyone would be also a huge asset. But I think he would be so valuable somewhere else too. So I don't know what direction they're going to go in.
Ben Carson or Devin Nunes for me. I'd love to see that. All right. Sad story. Alex Jones, InfoWars to be shut down, assets liquidated, bankruptcy trustee, according to him, I guess. I guess goodbye, InfoWars. I don't know. Democratic Party lawfare market at its finest, right? All because he said some mean things about Sandy Hook parents.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll, land on his feet somewhere or get back on with War Room or something.
He's going to have to sell a lot of supplements. He's going to have to sell a lot of
vitamins. Get him on Beaver County
supplements.
Radio. I don't talk to Frank Sparks. See if we can get it back on Beaver County Radio.
We'll try.
Yeah.
All right. Last story, and then Ryan actually has a funny story for us. So Joe and Jill Biden have been using their Delaware house for fast cash, refinancing over 20 times with loans totaling $4.2 million since buying the $350,000 home. Mark, why do they even need to refinance when they're really getting all their money from Ukraine and China?
That's a great point. That is an excellent point, Joe. I don't know. I mean, is the Rehoboth Beach House or what? But yeah, it's a good point. I mean, why would you have to refinance? I mean, you've obviously made well more than $4.2 million just in your illegal activities from all these countries you've received money from.
All right. That's a good episode. We got a story, though, for Ryan on Facebook related. So, Ryan, tell us about this Facebook story in Beaver County Radio.
Real quick. I will make it quick, guys. My question is, are we throwing common sense out the window and giving way to the Facebook fact checkers and things like this? My story, real quick, guys, is here at work. We had a story on our website up last week, and it was headed Crack and Joint Sealing starts next week. Because this is local news and we do talk about road work often, Facebook thought crack and joint sealing starts next week did not qualify under Facebook standards. Threw it off, told us that it was removed, told us that it was not right, that we couldn't have it. We then appealed it and we got our story back on. But guys, are we throwing common sense to the wind here and letting AI, Facebook fact checkers, and other things like it call the shots? Because in my opinion, this is ridiculous.
It was just a picture of roads too. It wasn't like Hunter Biden in there.
Right,
correct.
It was
just picture of roads, crack and joint sealing.
Absolutely.
I mean, get the mind out of the gutter, people. All right, Mark, anything? Great episode. Welcome back. Anything else? This is the last episode before the debate episode here. We got a debate coming up in 3 days.
A great episode. Yeah, we will be back Thursday on our pre-debate episode. And, yeah, stay vigilant, guys. And, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to Ryan, our producer. And thank you to everyone listening out there across Beaver County and Western Pennsylvania.
All right, and in sports-related news, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup tonight. Honestly,
who do you like, Joe? Who do you like?
I like Edmonton. I don't care who wins. I like to see an American team win, but I think Edmonton, I always thought they were the better team, and they went down 3. That'd be a great story to see happen. I just want to see the nice, shiny cup, and I watch it for that.
You know what, guys? We will see it tonight no matter who wins, no matter what happens. We will see that cup being handed over tomorrow. 1993, the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup. The Montreal Canadiens did it in 1993. You like Edmonton. I'm going to go with Florida just because they weren't, this team isn't good. They're not supposed to be there. I'm taking Florida. Mark, who do you like in this game?
I'll take the Florida Panthers. They are owned by Italian-American, Vinny Viola.
Okay.
So I'll go with Florida.
All right.
All right. For historical reference, you guys both had hung jury, and I told you Trump would be found guilty.
That's right.
So
right.
We'll leave it at that. We're not a betting man here. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. We'll be back on Thursday for an amazing historical debate. If Biden is brave enough to show up on drug, we'll be here. It's been Thinking Logically. Thanks for stopping by, Beaver County.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.